Is there anything specific to your guts that you would like to talk about, or you would like me to highlight? We're talking about bloating before. That's pretty common for most people.
Yeah. Especially when I eat carbs like pasta or bread.
Yeah.
I find like my stomach can just go out.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Anything else?
I want to talk about cravings.
About
Cravings.
cravings. Yeah. Cool. We can do a little
Bye,
bit about
Daddy.
it.
Bye.
Bye. Drive safe.
See you soon.
Yeah. Cool. So I can.
I have a feeling. Sorry.
Yeah.
That like some of these parasites and stuff.
Yeah.
Actually cause the cravings.
For sure.
So
Yes.
that's where I feel like this is not me now. This is like something weird.
Something inside me wanting this.
Yeah.
And
I
you're.
know that it's like 90% bacteria.
You're 100% bang on. An infection or a parasite will feed off yeasts and sugar, so that's what your body will crave. But if, you know, I can touch on a bit of emotional types of cravings too.
And what about digestion?
Yes, 100%. Yeah. Okay, so the brain-gut connection. So we heard about the brain-gut connection before. Yeah. So we know that the brain up here is connected, or this is actually called the second brain of the body, which is the enteric nervous system, which is all of the cells that line the gut. Our central nervous system is obviously our brain and our spinal cord as well. So what does a nervous system do? It communicates messages. So the brain obviously tells our brain down here, like we're hungry, right? So it's time to eat. Mine was definitely saying that because I had not had much to eat today. But those feelings that we get are not just physical, they're also emotional as well. So the first time you meet someone, you might get a gut feeling about them. If you need to make a difficult decision in your life, you're told to trust your gut. Or you might get messages of like butterflies in your stomach. So that's coming from the brain here and telling the brain down there different messages. So some people get butterflies in their tummy before a job interview or skydiving.
Your intuition comes from there, your gut feeling,
100%.
your intuition.
Yeah, exactly. And for some people, those feelings can be really intense. So we've known for a really long time that the brain here sends messages to the brain down here, but it's actually only in recent years, so about 10 to 15 years.
Would you know how to get out of like those kinds of things? Like when you get, say like you get butterflies or something like that. For a job interview, whatever.
Sure. So each person is going to have their own best way to support themselves through that situation. For myself, breathing, you know, just being conscious and mindful and a little bit more present definitely helps me. Right, so it's only like in the last 10 or 15 years that we know now that the signals and the messages we get go both ways. So we know that the brain sends messages down here, but it's only in recent years that we've discovered that the brain here sends messages to the brain up here. And it's because of that that there's a really big link into the health of the gut, or a lack of health in the gut, being a serious risk factor for lots of things. So anxiety and depression, and also serious neurological conditions like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and multiple sclerosis, and even autism in kids there as well. So it's really important to have a healthy gut. Make sense? Good. So I'm just going to highlight, obviously there's lots of messages that happen from our brain here to our brain here. So I'm just going to highlight 3 of them. Firstly, when we take in food, it tells our body how quickly to move that food through our digestive system. So why is this important when we're talking about food? Well, food for me is more than just like carbohydrates and proteins and fats. Like, food is information for your body, so it's going to respond based on the information that you're putting in. So we're talking about transit time here. So how long should food take to go from here to here? Any ideas?
Does it depend on what food you eat? Is it all a bit different?
Yeah, so, but we should be moving food through within a certain amount of time.
I mean, if I eat fiber, I'm going to poop within 4 hours.
Right, but that might not be the food that you've eaten, that might be food that's travelling along, because that tube is really, really long. Have I shown you the Bristol stool chart before?
Well, I know that
3 days? 12 hours?
Yeah, it's kind of anywhere between 12 hours and 48 hours.
Does it not depend on the food, or?
It can, but still, we shouldn't be keeping any food in the digestive system. It should all be moving out pretty
Even when
quickly.
you're food poisoned, isn't it? You could have eaten something at lunch and it doesn't really manifest till the next morning.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
of
It takes
course.
a while.
Takes some time
to affect you.
And then, like, how often should we be going to the toilet?
At least once or twice a
Yeah. Any more takers on that one?
Yeah, I'd say more.
Really?
I'm definitely more.
The more, the better.
But only once a day.
Maybe
Yeah.
after, like every time you have a meal.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're eating, you would adjust. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this is, once you see this, you're never going to not see it in your life. So if I showed you this one before, the Bristol Stool
Oh,
chart.
how cute!
Bristol Stool.
Oh, please don't.
Yeah. So what should it look like? Where
It's not
should
quite
we
like
be?
the Boston Matrix that I teach at business. It's
No.
slightly different. Bristol Stool.
Type 4.
So where are you? Who wants to
goodness.
share?
Variety, I
Yeah,
think.
I have to say that I have like lots of different ones from there.
Is that normal?
Yeah.
I
Mostly
think,
type 6 recently. I
yeah,
think, for
type
me.
4, type 6, I think.
Okay, interesting.
We're
should
all
talk
visualising each other's stools. Nice one. I never thought we'd get this intimate.
A
did we?
type
Yeah,
4.
4 and 1.
4 is ideal. I
And a
reckon.
1. So where you should be is in between type 3 and 4. You should always feel like you've completely emptied your bowel. You shouldn't feel like, oh, doesn't feel like I've completely emptied. There should never be any like strain or pain, and you should never ever see, we know blood, but you shouldn't really see mucus or slime on the
What is that a
toilet
symptom of?
tissue.
Seeing
beautiful.
mucus or slime? What?
Your
related to
bacteria, your gut bacteria is out of whack. Yeah. So obviously not as damaging as blood on the stool, but shouldn't be seeing that all too often, if at all, as well. So yeah, in between a type 3 and a type 4, how many times you should go? I mean, it's like the million-dollar question for nutritionists. Everyone says something different. For me, as long as you're going at least once a day and no more than 3 times a day.
Yeah.
So kind of if you're going 3 times a day and you're in tune with what you're eating, then fantastic. But for some people, just once a day is fits the bill too.
What does more signify if it's
So
like 5,
if-
6, 7 times a day?
Yeah. So if you're going,
Not that that's
Just
me.
type
Are you
Yeah.
sure it's not you? Because it sounds very personal.
hypothetically.
I've got a friend. You've got a friend.
A friend of yours, is it?
Friend of a friend,
A
yeah.
friend of a friend.
I know a guy.
I know a friend.
Then he tells about this with him.
Sure, well, no, I'm just hypothetically.
Give him a break.
Surely it depends on how much you eat and what you eat as well.
It-
So if I'm eating
it
like
does.
So full of shit
5
stuff.
It does, but then if you're going like 5, 6 times a day regularly, then it doesn't matter what food you're eating, it's going through too quickly. And if it's going through too quickly, you can't absorb the
Yeah.
nutrients that you need to from the foods you're taking in.
How can I slow it down?
Oh, it's you now, is it?
How can he slow it down? Sorry.
How can my friend slow it down? So maybe, so maybe instead of like if you think your diet or your friend's diet is really, really good, then maybe it's not about the food. Maybe you need to think about why is my muscular contractions of my gut
Yeah.
going too quickly? Are you really stressed? Are you like going 90 miles an hour all the time? Like,
Yeah, because that flight or fight hormone
Yeah.
makes you.
It's just a lot of
Evacuate.
his friend does a lot of exercise.
friends.
6 or 7
Yeah,
hours
he's not
a day.
stressed, my friend. He's
Yeah.
really chilled.
Yeah. And then, so your friend, so where on the scale does he or she?
Welcome to the group, Scott.
I'm not that close to my friend.
Have you ever looked in your friend's toilet?
I mean, have you ever seen those like double toilets they have? Okay,
You
so
said
I
between
used to
4
work
and
at scout
6. Yeah,
camp,
I mean
and they have
more.
these, you know, outside bathrooms.
Yes.
Yeah, and they'd have 2 in them next to each other. So we'd be like, hey, you want to go inside and like poop in an X? You know, like,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It varies, but
You said you drink a lot of coffee, didn't you?
yeah.
Oh yeah, that makes you go to the loo.
It is a gastrointestinal stimulant,
Oh my
which
God,
will
yeah.
make you.
That would make you go to the loo.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
that will
yeah,
probably
definitely.
bring it will probably bring it to a 6.
If you
And
put
that's
coffee
gonna-
down,
even
yeah.
though you're very, you said your friend is very relaxed, that's a massive stressor for the body. So only people with really robust adrenal glands and stress glands should be drinking a cup of coffee a day.
It makes sense because my husband drinks a lot of coffee and he goes to
Yeah.
the loo.
I mean, I drink
Even
one sip of
sometimes I
coffee
say,
and I
like,
could go
how
to the loo.
can you
Because I don't
actually
drink coffee
go to the
normally,
toilet
but
and
if I drink
drink
it, straight away.
this one?
Yeah.
that many times because for me 2 is like a record. Usually I go once a day.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, wow, how do I know? But it is true that he drinks a lot of coffee.
Yeah. So
Point.
that message that you're giving your body when you have a cup of coffee,
It's friend.
you are your friend. You're training your bowel not to think for itself as well.
Right.
So you're giving it the message to go, 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 and then the bowel will just go, well, I don't have to think about this anymore. I'm just going to kick back and relax because I get the message from somewhere else. So yeah, if
Many
you were to
coffees a
stop-
day would you have? Honestly, I mean your friend.
The thing is,
Tell the truth.
before I say a number, aren't there some benefits to coffee?
Definitely. Yes, there
it's like
are.
a two-sided debate.
There is.
Yes.
I mean,
Okay.
it's
It is.
natural.
Just
It's a
be
natural
truthful.
substance. It comes from a bean. There are very good, there's good research to say that it supports the liver and also your blood pressure, so your heart as
Antioxidants
well.
and things like that.
Yeah, but if you put milk in it, then you'll
No,
feel
no
it
milk.
not
I mean, it's
get
always
it.
black, but I load it up. I mean, they're pretty strong, and I'd say anywhere from between.
But that's like a small amount of coffee, 1 or 2 a day maximum.
Right, I'm way above that.
How
And
many
then
would you say?
it's a diuretic,
Yeah.
so you're
5,
getting
6,
rid of too
7?
much fluid. It's putting a big
Probably.
strain on your
Probably the amount of
kidneys.
times you break
You're killing yourself. Your friend is killing himself. No.
Yeah.
you don't put sugar
and
in it?
I'm not a great sleeper either, so
Oh,
obviously it's all
there you go.
I know. That's,
Yeah.
that's something I'm mindful of at the moment.
I mean, there's a reason why it's the world's second biggest commodity, right? It's addictive and it's amazing. But I was saying before, like, I got to the point where I wasn't even enjoying it anymore. I was just doing it to give me a
fix.
to give me a
I
fix.
think I'm at that
Yeah.
point.
And then in the afternoon, I was feeling like rubbish, like I was just zonked. So
Yeah.
even in 6 days, I think I might now have another cup of coffee. My energy is like more consistent.
Right, that's brilliant to be aware of it.
What's interesting
That
when
you've
you
reinforced
measure the
it,
amount
so-
of cup of coffees you have to the amount of poos you're having, it's kind of
Yes.
And the fact he's not sleeping, it also
Yeah.
It does happen after you have a coffee. Well, it
Cool.
happens to me.
Yeah.
And your friends.
That's why a lot of people
Yeah.
drink coffee or smoke cigarettes
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's the
It's
same
relaxing.
message.
Yeah.
Like, okay, now I've had a smoke and a coffee.
Could you
now
have
I'm
a-
gonna have a morning.
have a morning crack. Somebody just said that.
Scott, could you have a tea instead or a
I
herbal
drink
tea?
No, that's
tea,
very
green tea.
You
Yeah.
can substitute it.
I will now.
Yeah,
I'll
but
try
the
more.
green tea as well has, and at first like I need to pee, and then I go to pee, and then I brush my teeth, and by the time I brush my teeth, I'm pooping. And then
Without
I'm
even
pooping-
having any like water
Yeah,
or
Yeah.
Like, I wake
I'm
up and
the same.
And I'm pooping like 3 or 4 times, and then I'm trying to poop for the day.
so
What do you
3
mean
or
by 3 or
4
4 times?
Yeah, that's what happens to
No, but
me.
it's because it doesn't all come out at once, and then I go downstairs, and then drink some water,
Yeah.
and I go to poop again,
Yeah.
and then I do a little bit of yoga, and then I go to poop
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
But like before I really started my day, before I eat anything else. 'cause
Yes.
Now I'm eating my
That's fantastic.
first meal around like noon.
Yeah.
So I poop it around like 7 in the morning, and then I have nothing. Like,
Yeah.
And it feels, like, but it's quite
Cleansed,
nice.
yeah.
But I do find it a bit weird now that it's all in the morning, and I'm eating all day plus dinner, and then I don't poop again until.
Don't panic about that. The body, we operate on a rhythm, so we have different times of the day where different organs of our body work best. And for the digestive system, it's between 4 a.m. and midday. So that's when you should be going to the toilet, like rock and roll. And if you can, like, if you're going without even having something to cleanse the system first, like water, hot water with lemon, the bicarb soda drinks that you're all doing, like,
No, I wake up having to pee,
Yeah,
and then
me
once
too.
once I peed, it's like, whoop, okay,
Yeah.
poop coming, and
First thing I do is
Yeah.
wake up and I need to pee. That's it.
really?
Yeah.
Great. That sounds like it's
Wake up
very
by wheel and
healthy.
poo. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
out it goes. Morning, hello.
But then that's it for the day, and I
And we're
don't
like
wee
fighting
very
at
much
home
either.
when we get to sit on the toilet because we're both going at the same time. So have you finished yet? No, I've got to poop. It's my turn to poop.
Yeah, yeah. There's something called, it's just the traditional Chinese medicine body clock. If you Google image that, then it will come up with a certain time of the day and what organ it relates to. So say, for example, people keep waking up at like 3 o'clock in the morning. I think it's related to the lungs or the liver or something.
That's
So,
why we stopped smoking for a long time.
Yeah.
So we can have this for.
yeah.
And it really helps.
I mean, it's not a fail-safe, but it's a little bit more information that makes sense. So the morning is perfect. If you can go without having anything to drink, that's perfect as well. In between a type 3 and 4 is great. Maybe not so much coffee for your
I
friends.
think one a day is kind of a healthy balance.
You know, if you're if whoever is drinking 5, 6, 7 cups of coffee a day, it's challenging to go, okay, no more coffee, and even it's challenging to go down to 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Can you drink green tea?
Yeah, I drink that as well, and herbal teas.
Yeah.
Like you say, I think it's more of a habit now as opposed to before every time I exercise, which is 5 or 6 times a day, essentially, it's like my pre-workout thing. Have a cup of coffee and then go for it. So it's more.
But why? Yeah, exactly. Like, why do you feel the need to give your body false energy before a workout when you want to work mindfully? Would that caffeine not give you false energy to think that you can do more than what your body's limitations are?
Plus stressing your heart and everything else.
Hence getting injured and
It's still part
and
of
overtraining.
It's psychosomatic, isn't it?
What's your opinion on? Because I remember I have a lot of friends back in Sweden who go to the gym and they drink these energy drinks. They're about 100 calories, but they're apparently like natural, whatever. But I don't know personally. I didn't like. I tried one once. I thought they were kind of effective, but they're supposed to make you burn 200 to like 200 more calories during the next workout if you drink it maybe like 30 minutes before.
Is it the same as a coffee? My opinion would be that sounds like the same. You're giving your body false energy to work more intensively than your body might want or need at that specific time. So I know loads of people do it. I mean, some people take speed before they do a workout.
It's these pre-workout drinks you can take. I've taken them once or twice only because my boyfriend at the time was big into bodybuilding, and I never take pre-workout. And he says, "Take one of this and we go to the gym." And I drank it. Honestly, I felt like I was on drugs.
You're wired, don't you?
I swear, I felt like I was on cocaine or something. It was just, I thought I was taking cocaine.
Your friend
took I told him cocaine and everything. And I honestly felt like I was on drugs. And I didn't take drugs. And that's how I felt. It was really weird. So it's just an adrenaline rush of either caffeine.
Some of it's sick, man.
It's bad.
Blow up your blood vessels.
Yeah.
It's not good. And then you have sugar, and then you go down.
Exactly.
It's like a sugar rush.
Same with the coffee as well. What goes up must come down.
Yeah, I know.
So is there ideal food that you should be having before and after a workout?
Like protein, definitely.
Before or after?
Well, they say you might know more than me. What should we be eating before?
What's the right food to be having before?
Pre-workout, as I'm aware, sort of an hour and a half to 2 hours before, you want some complex carbs, a bit of protein, and afterwards you want some more simple high GI carbs to spike your insulin and replenish the glycogen, I think, back in your muscles.
I remember when I was
after workout,
high impact,
a bit of fruit
aerobic
and
stuff.
protein, so that you can rebuild all the muscle.
Acids.
I used to always get dizzy when I did high impact, and I was told to eat a banana about an hour before. Because that would be a slower release.
That's
really
that's why tennis players like eat it in between matches.
Exactly.
It's very fast absorbing into the bloodstream, so it's like nature's Red Bull.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Nature's Red Bull. I love that. So
a banana before, and then after more complex stuff.
Complex before, banana if you're doing right before and you haven't had your meal, and you need it, or during, and then afterwards some more.
But ideally, complex carbohydrates before, but then you've got to have them a few hours before because you don't want to train on a really full tummy as well. And then I would have like a protein shake or smoothie or something.
That would be like quinoa.
I personally find that I work out much better than
brown rice, sweet potato.
If I have food in my stomach, I have no energy. And I know people that are opposite, like in the morning, because I can wake up, roll out of bed, put my sneakers on, run, do like 50 sun salutations, and then be like, and I haven't even thought about food. And other people will, even if you just talk about exercise, say that, oh my god, I'm hungry, I'm weak. And can you?
100%.
Because some people are hypoglycemic, no?
So you don't want to have like a heavy meal sit in your tummy before you do a workout. I think most people would be like that as well, but the complex carbs should come like 2, 3, 4 hours before.
And what about if you haven't had food for like 12 hours?
That's fine. Yeah. Cool. Okay, so that's transit time. That's your poo, your friend's poo. Talk a bit about stimulants. So that's one of the messages that the brain here sends the brain up there. The second message that I wanted to highlight quickly is about mucus. So these are just fantastic conversations for mucus on a Saturday afternoon. Has anyone ever heard of leaky gut? Yeah. Okay. So leaky gut. Oh, please work. Oh no! Was that me?
Just water. I think it's just water.
I was just like, I'm tired of shoes.
Ninja-like reflexes didn't quite cut it.
Oh, okay. It's not even that much. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that would would be lovely. Thank you.
One of those days they said meatball from my pants.
Oh no.
Not yellow enough clothes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just made a bit
to
yellower.
embrace your chakra a bit more.
Yeah.
Right, so leaky gut. So one of the messages the brain here sends the brain up here is it says, hey, you need to make enough mucus to protect our bodies. So this is a kind of a picture of what's happening inside your gut. So here we've got the inside of
Your intestine.
no, sorry, other way around. So here is the inside of your intestine, right? So our digestive system goes from the throat to the anus, and it's a long, thin tube. Now, inside that tube, there's lots of different things, but we have a whole lot of mucus in there. And that mucus is made of like bonds and proteins and tight junctions. And it's there to protect us from all of these things that we're exposed to every day. So toxins, whether that be the food that you eat or environmental toxins that you are exposed to. It can come from microorganisms. We're exposed to bacteria and viruses every single day. It can come from some of the foods that we eat. So things like gluten can be very damaging to that mucus as well. Anything else there? Yeah. So we have these tight junctions and bonds that form all of this beautiful mucus that long, thin tube is made up of. So what happens is we've also got these little finger-like projections called villi. Have you heard that word before? And when we eat the foods, when we break down the foods, these villi kind of look like algae or seaweed, and they kind of bring in the nutrients through our digestive system and into our bloodstream, and then from there they can get transported to wherever or whichever organ that they're needed to. But what happens with leaky gut is that these sorts of things that we're exposed to every single day, or caffeine or stress is a really big one, or bacteria, viruses, and sometimes even just age, the aging process, that can break down these tight bonds and junctions so they get weaker, and when they get weaker, they get leakier. So we end up starting to get little micro, tiny little holes. Some people get really big holes through their mucus in their digestive system. When that happens, we can start letting in all of these things that we want to keep out.
Is that what causes stomach ulcers?
Can
it be related to it, or not necessarily?
Definitely. I mean, stress. You know, I had a 15-year-old boy that was in so much stress he caused himself a stomach ulcer.
But is it because of the mucus then making a leaky gut? Is that what
Yes.
causes the ulcer, the leak?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So when we get weaker bonds, we get leakier guts, and then what happens is these things and more, so some of the foods that we eat, can travel through that digestive system, and particularly with the foods, we might bring them through in larger molecules, and then what sits on the other side of our digestive system is about 80% of our immune system. And it's there not because there was nowhere else to put it in the body, it's there to protect us. So say, for example, we didn't used to be intolerant to wheat or gluten or chia or mango or pumpkin seeds, but now whenever I eat it, I feel really bloated, or I feel like I get a headache or a migraine or something. That's because your immune system is firing off little inflammatory messages to the rest of the body because it doesn't recognize what you are now taking in. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So we need to protect our guts and that mucus as
So
well.
when you have the leaky gut
Yeah.
and all those holes have been formed,
Yes.
then you can heal yourself afterwards. It's not like that's permanent damage.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll take you
Just wanted
through
to
that.
check before we went any further.
Yeah.
It sounds so dark.
It can, yeah. You can heal. I mean, the digestive system replenishes itself really quickly, but it's all about, again, the information that you're giving your body. So you could put in the very best supplements, but if you're still really stressed, or if you're having loads of coffee or loads of alcohol or recreational drugs or whatever, then what are you doing? Like,
I think that's where we all got in our bioprint to kind of sort out a leaky gut first, and to do the bicarbonate soda and the lemon water and to try and...
Yeah, 100%. So, you know, these inflammatory messages, yeah, go.
No, well, then you can have, for instance, that, and then if you work it out, you can be good. And that means that if someone says that you are gluten intolerant, you can
again eat gluten?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's a good point. Some people do like food intolerance testing and they get the results and they're like, well, I'm not cutting all of those foods out because I've got to do them forever. But that's not the case. You take them out for a certain amount of time, you put all the good stuff in, and then you start retesting the body. So my goal is not to deprive you of eating the foods that you love, but just be more conscious of them and give your body a rest so it can do what it needs to do and heal.
Because now there is a lot of like several opinions about gluten, that people are at the certain, everybody's like a gluten free. And for instance, well, I was talking with my husband because of course he hears a lot about, oh no, gluten. And then he says, well, I was reading an article that says that if you're not intolerant, it's not that all of a sudden you could the gluten for the whole family, your kids and everybody, because it's bad.
It can
it's
be
just,
quite
as you say,
harmful.
you have to be conscious of the quantity of gluten that you consume in order for you not to exaggerate. But the same is like with sugar or with
exactly.
whatever.
So gluten is very damaging for that mucus, but if you have a very healthy, robust digestive system, then you can handle it from time to time. The grains that contain gluten, though, like in the last generation, have contained considerably more gluten than they did 10, 20, 30 years ago. So we're taking in more just by eating less as well. So we need to take that into consideration. But yeah, if you give yourself a break, put the good stuff in, then have some gluten.
No, Gillian, it's really interesting because last week I went and I had a food intolerance test done.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I ever had it done. It was in Radiant Yoga actually. And I didn't tell the girl what I did and didn't eat. And it was interesting because it came up on the test. I don't eat meat and I don't eat dairy and I don't like soya, and that was the 3 things I was intolerant to.
So your own body had already kind of made you not like that?
Everything else you're fine, she just put anything dairy, cow's milk, yogurt, don't have it.
Can I ask, did you have any of these foods in the lead up to the food intolerance test?
Yes.
Good. So if you're going to do a test like this, it's
a bit of dairy I did,
my advice is always to bring in as many of the foods that you're testing for a week to 2 weeks before. So, and just having like 1 serving a day. So for wheat, that might be a piece of toast once a day for 1 week to 2 weeks, so that your body recognizes the antibodies that you're measuring for. However, if you know 150% that you get massive stomach pains or migraines from eating gluten, then don't have it, like you know. But for everything that's being tested, my recommendation would be to bring it in a little bit before. Otherwise, you might get false positive.
What do you think about celiac disease? Because like my doctor said that I won't ever be able to have gluten because that's like an autoimmune disease.
Yes.
But do you think that it can be reversed or?
Oh, so you've got celiac then. So leaky gut is also linked to autoimmune disease, because if we misfire the immune system for too long, then it just starts attacking healthy tissue. So in your case, it's attacked the villi. So once those villi are flat, it's very difficult to get them healthy, functioning again. I would say nothing is impossible though.
Yeah.
And if you look after your body enough, then it's going to give you the right messages back.
And so what does celiac actually mean?
So celiac is an autoimmune disease. So autoimmune meaning that your immune system attacks healthy tissue for a reason that is unknown to science. And there's lots of different...
triggers it. Gluten, you can't
gluten
have
is
it
the trigger.
because it flares up and it's quite
So
serious.
the villi that bring in nutrients are flat for her. So that's much more difficult for you to absorb nutrients. It can definitely cause loads of diarrhea. So you're getting rid of more nutrients and electrolytes and all the rest of it. So, you know, Hashimoto's disease is the autoimmune disease of the thyroid. So your immune system just attacks healthy tissue, the thyroid.
Yeah,
so
or
it
like
doesn't
rheumatoid
work.
arthritis attacks your joints.
Yes.
It's the kind of autoimmune.
So this leaky gut, where the mucus gets weaker and leakier, the holes get bigger, and you start bringing in more of the things that were on that picture through your digestive system, your immune system sits on the other end of that and it goes, hang on, I don't recognize you. You're a bigger molecule of a strawberry that I'm used to, so I don't understand it, so I'm going to send a message. And that message might not mean much, but in a year or 2 years or 3 years or a decade or whenever, that if we misfire our immune system too much, it can be linked to autoimmune diseases. Does that make sense?
Is there any good news?
Yeah. There's loads of good news.
Can I ask you one quick question about the...
don't be frightened, don't panic, whatever you do,
intolerance testing, because I've had it a couple of times,
Yeah.
but doctors don't believe in it, because they say you might be tested on 3 different days, and have completely different readings.
Right.
And yeah, it's an extra thing. They cost about €300-400. They kind of take your money, but apparently, I mean, I've spoken to doctors, and they're like, it's an it's something that people are offering and doing, but it's not factual in the way that it could give you a different reading depending on different days. That's what
in saying that, there is good research around it to support all of the things that ail us and send us to the doctors. So no energy, like your hormones being all over the place, headaches, bloating, like all of those things that
but
people go to
doctors for. But if one day you're flaring up for soya, and then the next day they're telling you, oh no, soya's okay, but you can't have nuts. Or, I think
that I'm not sure of, because I've never seen any research where people have been tested over 3 days.
Yeah.
I can say though that people generally do feel better by doing, if they've done food intolerance testing and then doing a program to support their bodies, knowing what they're intolerant to, and then reintroducing those foods. Yeah. Okay, some good news.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
I'm starting to be suicidal.
So the third, so it was like food transit time. That's one of the messages. The second message, the second message was about mucus. The third message is about bacteria. So we're actually more bug than we are human. So we need to communicate. Our bacteria in our guts, our good bacteria, need to communicate with the rest of the body, and that's another reason or way that the brain is connected up here, because our bacteria constantly sending messages to the rest of our body. So what do we know about bacteria? Not much. We know a lot, but we know nothing. So about 35 years ago, we knew that we had bacteria in our gut. We knew that we could culture some of those bacteria through foods, but we really didn't know the implications of that. Now we know a lot more, but I think we barely have scratched the surface of just how important these bacteria are for our guts as well. We know that each one of us, similar to the way that we have a unique fingerprint, we also have a unique makeup of bacteria in our guts as well. And we know lots of things that can damage our bacteria too. So again, really important to support our guts. So things like too much sugar, too much gluten. We went through organic and non-organic foods, so the herbicides, pesticides and fungicides that they use on those foods, that can damage your gut lining and get rid of a lot of your good bacteria, making bad bacteria thrive and survive. Not just what we eat, but how we eat. Like, are we eating mindfully? Are we eating on our way to public transport? Are we eating in front of the Kardashians at night, or are we sitting with people that we love? I mean, all of these things, it sounds small, but all of these things can impact, the balance between good and bad bacteria. And then lifestyle habits, so alcohol, too much stress, poor sleep. Poor sleep is a stressor for the body. I had a client in London once, and she was in her late 20s, maybe she was 30 as well. When she moved from England to Australia a number of years ago, that triggered like really bad chronic fatigue. She was absolutely floored. She saw a naturopath out there, got back to health, which was great, but then she went through a really stressful move again, moving back from Australia back to the UK, started a really stressful job. She would work out a lot. She was into the CrossFit and the Bikram yoga, and she was only sleeping about 4.5 hours a night to fit all of this in. So again, like, these types of exercise are not bad, but they're stressors for the body as well. So if you don't have a really robust immune system, adrenal system, then your body's not going to be happy when it does that as well. Yeah. Any questions? And then what else can disturb the balance of bacteria in our gut? So the oral contraceptive pill for women, steroid medications, recreational drugs and antibiotics as well. So different client came to see me, wasn't feeling the best, and she'd been on antibiotics for 15 years. What? Solid for her skin. Without ever being tested for a bacteria.
But wait, how does it happen?
She had bad skin.
She had bad skin, so they suggested taking some antibiotics, and she's been on them solid for 15 years. And she's terrified to come off them. So, antibiotics don't differentiate between good and bad bacteria. They'll just kill everything in sight. So all of her symptoms that she came to see me about were related to her immune system, constantly getting colds and flus, even though she's on the antibiotics. And then her gut was all over the place. Yeah.
And then you build up resistance to antibiotics, and they don't really work.
100%. They just change them for her.
So, like, one thing I wanted to ask you, so now I'm taking the wheatgrass.
Yeah.
I haven't started with the probiotics yet.
Yeah.
Because I want to start with the probiotics, but I felt like I didn't want to do the wheatgrass and the probiotics at the same time and then not know which one was doing what for me.
Right.
But with the wheatgrass, I've been taking it in the morning.
Yeah.
And like the biggest shift, I mean, like also I feel a lot more connected to my gut.
Yeah.
But I've started noticing like huge brain fog lifting.
Really?
And I've been frustrated for years now with myself about like not remembering, like having to look at my calendar to remember what I'm doing. And right now it's just
your
crystal. And I'm telling people
that
it's the wheatgrass.
Yeah.
And they're going, what? And Carla's the same, what? But I know because it's the only thing that I've changed. You know, and I just wanted to ask you like if you could put it into words that make that connection.
Well, so the wheatgrass and probiotic, the one that I've suggested that some of you are picking up today, I mean, they're both fantastic products and they will work on different things in your body, but essentially wheatgrass is going to cleanse you, right? Like if you can be and feel a bit more cleansed, then you're going to have more time and more space to be thinking a little bit clearly. And it's not just that, everything will be a bit clearer, like your skin, your eyes will sparkle, those sorts of things too. Whereas the difference with the probiotic is that's working like bang on your bacteria, but it's working on your immune system as well. And then because you're working on your gut, you're going to be working on every other system in the body.
The probiotic, I take it for like a 12-week session, like once or twice a year or something like that.
Yeah, so,
every day.
Yeah, let me just grab it now while we're talking about it. So for some of you that are doing this improve, so it's a liquid. I remember Julia's husband, I think Julia was surprised that she got it. She was expecting tablets, I think. So it's a liquid. So, and you ladies need to do it like now. It's a 12-week program, but it's only got a shelf life once it's in the bottles for not too long. So I think this one, like by September. So you've still got loads of time to do it, but you don't want to just keep it hanging around. So it's a liquid. You do 60 mils in a cup that's provided very, very, very first thing in the morning. So nothing else to eat, even nothing else to drink, on a completely empty stomach. So very first thing. Once the bottle is open, it needs to go in the fridge, but if it hasn't been opened, then it's fine just to keep in the shelf. Obviously not too hot as well. And you do that every day for 12 weeks. So the reason I chose this one is because it is one of only 2 that's been found to reach the gut 100% intact. So by not eating and drinking, and some probiotics are different, but you know, our own digestion can eat the good bacteria. So we obviously don't want that to happen. And a lot of testing has been done on this product and other products, and some don't get anywhere near where they're meant to get. So this one gets to the gut 100% intact. And I've been using it for so long, it's my #1 that I suggest to clients, and I've never had anyone not have a good experience on it. So I hope you guys are the same.
So
even if you've got a leaky gut, you use this in order to help the bacteria to stop the leaky gut, or would you deal with the leaky gut first and then have this?
I'll get to that when I get on the 5 R's. Yeah.
Just one question about this.
Yeah.
If that's the first thing you take in the morning,
Yes.
then how long after can you have your hot water and lemon and breakfast?
Yeah. So I would wait a minimum of 10 minutes before having anything to eat. Like 5 minutes before you have a drink of water. I would probably even wait it a little bit longer to have anything hot, because heat will destroy the bacteria as well. So they say 10 minutes, but I'm like, if I'm going to spend all this money doing the good, I know that heat destroys good bacteria, so I'd probably wait 20, 30 minutes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is it okay? You don't have to keep it in your fridge.
Once it's opened, the bottle's got to go in the fridge.
Okay, because I have a little bit that problem, because I like to sleep with a bottle of water next to my bed.
Yeah.
So when I wake up, I'm a bit thirsty, and I want to have a sip of water before I get done, go downstairs.
But that's okay. Like when, you know, oh right. So when you get up, you like to have a sip of water.
Yeah.
I would suggest using that as your sip of water instead.
Right, but then I have to get all the way down the stairs to get my sip of water.
Buy a little fridge next to your bed.
It's
You can get them in the market.
Power month. Walk down the stairs.
Walk down the stairs. Also, like, I would just suggest, like, why do you want to risk, like, not absorbing every single one of these 10 billion bacteria in every dose that you're having? Do you know what I mean? like for 3 months.
And if you were having the wheatgrass, you'd have it after?
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. Or if you were having it by itself, then you would have the Simproo first, and then you would do the wheatgrass like 5 minutes after.
And if you weren't having that, but you were having wheatgrass, is that the first thing you should have in the mornings? How would you best
If
take
you're not
the
doing this, but you're doing the wheatgrass?
Yeah.
On an empty stomach.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then wait again for it to take effect?
No,
or you can
just have the wheatgrass on an empty stomach, and then maybe, because some people don't really like the taste,
Yeah.
so like a small piece of fruit, and then you can eat straight away.
Okay,
But just to make sure that it gets absorbed
Yeah.
and gets in there, then we just do that on an empty stomach too. Yeah. Right, so yes, food is the place, your belly is the place where food goes, but it is loads and loads more. So now you know that it is a link to your immune system. Yeah, so 80% of your immune system is on the other side of your digestive tract. It's a launch pad to your nervous system. So in our gut, we have, loads and loads and loads of neurotransmitter receptors, right? So it's thought that we make 50% of our dopamine in our guts, and it's thought that we make 90 to 95% of our serotonin in our guts as well. So if your gut is not working as optimally as it could, then you're not going to be making these feel-good hormones and neurotransmitters as effectively as you could too. And, with the, in London when I was practicing, 90% of my clients were women. 90% of those 90% would have some issue with anxiety and depression and the like. So using something like an antidepressant might be a good place to start, but is that not just applying a plaster on top of a problem? Like, let's maybe work with the gut a little bit more so that your body can produce these substances itself and you don't have to take an artificial one. I don't know. And then it's also a big launch pad to your skin system as well. So if your gut can't push out toxins through the bowel, then it's going to push them out through the skin, yeah? And you might feel this yourself, like when you get pimples or, with even eczema and psoriasis and all types of skin conditions too, yeah? So the good news, the 5 most effective ways to heal your gut. So in the bigger picture, what can you do to deal with all that can go wrong in your guts? So this 5R protocol is something that I implement with a lot of clients, but a lot of clients aren't willing to do like a 3-month cleanse whilst we go through all of these 5Rs, but they want just to feel better, so we do something a little bit smaller for them. So each R stands for a different word. The first R is about remove. So this is removing stressors, so removing your emotional stress. It could be removing the foods that are causing your body stress. It could be removing things that negatively affect the digestive system totally. It could be removing infections or parasites, or even removing the foods that you might be intolerant or allergic to. So how do I do this? With herbs that you might have tried before. Garlic is nature's very best antimicrobial, so that's great just to kill off bad bacteria, leave the good, but can also get rid of parasites as well. Oregano oil, or oregano oil, however which way you want to say it, that is incredibly good. Yeah.
Can you overdo garlic?
Well, yes, but no.
I've started, I just get the whole bowl and just chop just the very top off, put some olive oil in, put it in the oven, and I'll eat the whole bowl.
Yeah.
Most days. So
like a whole bowl?
Like a whole bowl of garlic.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it's lovely when it's roasted, it goes quite sweet.
And it just pops
Yeah,
out.
but then try to kiss someone like
Yeah.
Well, that's what my girlfriend.
His girlfriend's in London, that's why she left.
I'm not allowed to do that when she's around, so I make the most of it.
Okay.
But
You can overdo anything.
I'm wondering if that could have an effect as well on
your
my
gut.
friend.
Yeah, on your friend
Yeah.
with the gut. 100%.
Yeah.
When you're cooking it though, it changes the compounds of that food,
Because
which
loses
makes
the
it gentle.
potency a
Yeah.
lot, otherwise I wouldn't be able to do that with.
But
No.
you're saying raw garlic is the one that's really cleansing and really
Yeah, well they're all going to be
antiseptic.
cleansing, but it's going to be more. It's going to be stronger.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you
How
put
would you
garlic
recommend
in
we
the
do raw garlic?
Yeah.
You
If
squeeze
you can
it
do
into,
that.
I don't
rock
cut
it.
it very small,
Sauce to
so
put
it
on your
doesn't
salad?
after
Yeah.
no
You
smell.
I just swallow it
Really?
sometimes like a pill.
You swallow
Really?
it,
Yeah, a capsule with water.
and it
Boom.
doesn't
Yeah?
And yeah,
No,
goes
you
straight
don't.
down.
Yeah, you need to share. You need to share.
Yeah, well, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Like garlic and
We all
onion
like
lately
it.
for me,
This is
I'm
garlic.
intolerant because it just
I cut it, but not very, very small. So you can, not so big, not so small, and you put honey. So it's not disgusting.
what, like a tea? No.
No, with a spoon.
Yeah.
Spoon. I cut one.
Clove of garlic?
of garlic, and I put honey.
Really?
Yeah.
What I would add to that is once you have that, flush your system with water, because like a probiotic, you want that garlic to get to the gut where it needs to do its job. So like lots and lots of water to get it down there really quickly.
Do you chew the garlic?
No.
You swallow it like that?
Swallow.
And when you're preparing garlic yourself, when you're preparing garlic yourself, it's important, the enzymes that do all the good work, they need time to be made. So when you're cooking with garlic, make sure you chop the head off the bulb or the clove and leave it to sit before you add it to any sort of cooking as well. Because if you just kind of crush it from a whole bulb into your fry pan, then you're not giving it, that garlic, enough time to make the enzymes.
How much time does it need? A few minutes?
A few minutes, yeah. So I just chop the little head off the clove, let it sit there, and then I might dice it or crush it.
A glass of wine.
Glass of wine, yeah, exactly.
They sell them in jars. The pickled ones are quite good. Have you tried them?
Yeah, they're nice.
Crunchy.
Again, they're not so potent, are they?
No, they're not.
The flavor potency is pickled out.
So garlic, fantastic. Oregano oil is good. A herb called Pau d'Arco.
Oregano.
Oregano and clove oil is very, very good. Oregano.
You know where you can buy that?
Oregano oil?
Maya, ¿cómo se dice lino? Aceite de lino?
Linseed.
Linseed. As an oil.
Because you're saying about the organic oil?
No, oregano oil.
Oh,
oregano. Oregano oil.
And where is the other
Yeah.
one, sorry?
Yeah.
Linseed.
That's not, I mean, that's great, but it's not good for getting rid of stuff, removing stuff from the digestive system. Grapefruit seed extract. Have you seen that before? Grapefruit seeds are fantastic to cleanse the gut and get rid of bad bacteria and even help with parasites. A herb called wormwood. Funnily enough, wormwood is very, very good, very effective. And Pau d'Arco, which you can get as a tea. It's a very, very strong antiparasitic. Yeah. The remove is the single most important R from my perspective. If you put all of the other support in, but you're not getting rid of what's causing you damage, then you're again just kind of applying a plaster effect. So
how do you know when you've got parasites? Do you have to do a stool test and they check them? And
yeah.
And if it's clear, but you still think,
yeah.
I mean, is it foolproof? Just have a stool? Because they do it on various days, don't they? You have to do like 3 days worth of stool.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So let me just show you a sample test quickly. If that's okay. Again, the conventional medical field probably won't test for a parasite.
No?
No. I don't think they believe in candida at all.
Really?
Yeah. So I use a company called Genova. They're based in the UK, but they can test all around the world. So a stool test, they take a sample of your stool over 3 consecutive days and they test it for lots of things. This test is not cheap either, it's about £350, but when you have really bad health problems, you'll do anything to solve them, right? So the reason why I love this test is because it has 4 different categories, really easy for me as a practitioner, but also you to understand too. So the first category they test for is infection. So they test your stool for loads of different parasites. So this client of mine has something called Blastocystis hominis, which is the most common. People think that Candida is the most common, but Blastocystis hominis is by far the most common. So they test it for infection. They test your gut for levels of inflammation in the body. They test your gut for insufficiency, so that's digestive acid, enzyme insufficiency. And then finally, they look at an imbalance. So they test your gut. They look at the 24 most researched bacteria, and they test your gut against 100% healthy gut to see how you're matching up. And for a lot of people, this is, you know, the best place to start as well. So, you know, there's lots of different things within that test that I go through with my clients, but that's kind of like the 4 pillars, and that's why I like it. So, you know, some people will just test for a parasite stool test without doing all the rest. So I'm like, if you're going to spend the money, then make sure you go to someone that knows what to look for.
Is there anything you can do yourself? I have a friend of mine has lots of problems with depression, gets anemia, things like that, things that have serious, like, it's your gut.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. Especially if they've tried lots of other things and it hasn't worked, then the gut is a great place to start.
And like low on energy all the time.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
So this, any type of
money, what would I tell them?
Yeah, so, you know, it's a lot of money. I don't force clients to do testing, but it does take away the guesswork, because like antibiotics, some of your bacteria, if you've got an infection or a parasite, it can be resistant to an antibiotic, and it can be resistant to any one of these natural supplements as well. So in addition to doing the tests, they go, yes, you have it. We're now going to test that stool against the antibiotics that are most commonly prescribed, and we're going to test it against the natural agents to see which one is your best fit. So it's a lot of money, but you could probably be saving money in the long run, because you could try all these things and you don't get anywhere. But for your friend, this 5R protocol would be a great place to start.
Can you not do cleanses anyway without really being sure what bacteria you've got, like the liver cleanses or the kind of more like the colonic irrigations and all that kind of trying to flush it?
Yeah, that's good, but a lot of people
do you believe in that, colonic irrigation?
Yeah, I think it definitely has its place. I think people, like anything, do too much of it. They kind of think it's the answer to all of their prayers.
And jump and then just go and do that every 3 months.
Exactly, yeah. I think for people with really chronic digestive problems, it is a great place to start. But when I used to teach nutrition in London, you know, when people discover nutrition, they tend to get really rigid with a lot of their choices, and they'd be giving themselves enemas every night and then going for colonics all the time. It's like, it's not really needed when you're young and you can look after yourself in loads of other ways, because again, you are going to be flushing out good bacteria along with bad bacteria as well. But they do have their place. Yeah. So remove. The second R is replace. So this is about replacing things like digestive acids, enzymes, and secretions. So once we turn 35, we produce hydrochloric acid in our stomach. It's a very acidic environment in there, which helps to obviously break down our food. But once we get to 35, we can't possibly make as much hydrochloric acid in our stomachs that we could 5 years ago, 10 years ago when we were kids as well. Then you put a couple of those things in that can damage it, and acid goes down. Again, that might be a reason why you feel bloated or you're not digesting food properly. Yeah, make sense? The bicarb soda in the mornings will help with that too. Yeah. And then there's has anyone done the baking soda test or heard of that before? So you get a quarter teaspoon of bicarb soda or baking soda and just have it cold water first thing in the morning, and then you just start the timer for 5 minutes, and if you have a really big burp straight away, then that's a good indication that you've got good levels of hydrochloric acid in your stomach. And if you don't burp at all, or it takes you more than a couple of minutes, then that can be one bit of information that you're not producing as much as normal as well.
So 1 spoon, and after that your water?
Just a quarter teaspoon in the water, in like 100 ml of water. Drink it down really quickly and then just wait 5 minutes. If you have a big, hearty, healthy burp, then that's a good indication that you've got good levels of hydrochloric acid. Because the bicarb, the baking soda will mix with the hydrochloric acid and produce a gas, and that gas will make you gut. The third R on the list is re-inoculating. So the Simprove or a probiotic is a great place to start. The 3-month course that you do is where you do maybe one of those a year if you really wanted to look after yourself, 1 a year, but you might want to do this one time only and then just do like a maintenance of 4 bottles once a year after that if you're feeling pretty good. Yeah. Then with your probiotics as well, so the probiotics are the number and the different strains of the bacteria, but we also have things called prebiotics. Have you heard of prebiotics before as well? So the prebiotics make the probiotics really thrive, survive, and conquer as well. Bananas are a good place for natural prebiotics. Artichokes are really good prebiotics, but we can also get them from fibres. So slippery elm, which is a herb I've mentioned before, is a really good prebiotic for the body too. Then number 4 is for repair. So this is really repairing the gut and making those bonds and junctions that form the mucus really strong, and so they function with integrity. So here, in terms of nutrients, zinc is like the best healer for the body, the best healer for your outside body, but the very best healer for strengthening those bonds and junctions, particularly in your gut, which is really good. Pumpkin seeds, again, for the zinc, but also lamb is a really good supply too. And then glutamine. So people heard of glutamine before? People heard of bone broths before to get the glutamine and the collagen? So we make a bone broth by, simmering bones at a really low temperature. The bigger the bone, the longer you cook it for. So chicken bones, minimum of 6 hours, up to 24 hours. But what we want to do is take away that amino acid glutamine and the collagen to help nurture and support particularly our guts. That can be a good place to do it. You can also get it.
Any meat.
You don't need any meat. Cabbage juice is the next best option. So you would juice fresh cabbage, and you'd have 30 mils of that a day, but you're not going to get as near as much glutamine.
What do you mean with cabbage juice? Like
pressed on a juicer?
Like a juicer. But it doesn't taste all that great. Even when I put a little bit of cabbage juice in a juice, that is the only thing that I can taste.
And you wouldn't be making it every day?
Yeah. So a supplement would be your next best place.
I don't even mean.
What would you recommend then?
So a supplement that contains glutamine in it, and then something with zinc as well. I can suggest one for you and send you a link for it. Yeah. But that's a great way to...
Did you not have it in your bioprint because I've got glutamine as a supplement that she recommended that we take. Did you not have it in your...
It was called
L-glutamine, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I can recommend a supplement if you like, but something that contains glutamine, zinc, antioxidants, are good to heal and repair the gut, and fish oil as well. Fish oils are good too. But that will ensure that you sort out your good mucus, you heal your gut, so you stop getting the leaky gut, so you stop getting all of the signs of inflammation all through your body too. And then the final R is all about rebalancing. So once you feel good, obviously just maintaining so that you don't get all of that stuff coming back. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah? Any questions?
So you do the grass week, then you do these?
No.
Probiotic, yeah, in a day in the life of, you wake up in the morning, you go straight to the fridge or to the cupboard, and you have your 60ml shot of Simprove. You wait 5 minutes, and then you have your wheatgrass shot.
And then your
water, whatever.
Your
yeah, your honey with garlic, and then it's midday, you've got to have your lunch.
And then you water to school.
Journal.
Shit, I'm late.
Yeah.
And when you finish all that, you start with the zinc and the glutamine, or you do everything at the same time?
Okay, so good question. If you were going to do it really intensively, I would have, in a 7-day week, I would normally do the first 2 days of that week, I would do the removing. So I would be putting in really high dose things, natural substances to kill off all the rubbish. And then for the remaining 5 days of the week, I would do putting in the digestive enzymes, acids, secretions, the probiotic, and everything to repair the gut lining as well.
What is that, Maya?
Ice machine.
But, this, if you wanted to do it, this is a pretty intensive protocol. It would probably, it's always good to speak to someone before doing that. But you can take away little bits from this just to implement if you want a more gentler approach.
And if you're doing the probiotics and all these things, and it's the weekend and you eat gluten and you have a glass of wine, it doesn't matter. It's not that you have to go everything.
Yeah, of course.
In that.
Yeah. You can still enjoy your life, but bear in mind that the things like the gluten and the alcohol and stress are going to be damaging the things that you're trying to replenish. Yeah. So, you want to maximize the benefits when you're paying to do this, so you want to just
go into a cave for 3 months and
yeah.
meditate. Don't
But
speak
it's like
to
a
anyone.
treatment.
No, I'm a realist. Do you know what I mean?
It's like a treatment. Once you're better, you can slowly do the nice things again.
Yeah.
I mean, I could do it. The point is that, of course, I'm married and my husband wants to have a normal life.
He's going to make you drink that wine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, well, for him. So.
Any questions? Oh, you asked about cravings. So 3 things for cravings for me. So it depends where the craving comes from. So stress releases cortisol. Cortisol makes us crave energy, right? So we're going to be craving things like carbohydrates as well. My belief is in Western culture, we're very good at repressing our emotions. We don't really have good mechanisms to deal with all the emotions that come up, so we try and numb them by eating or drinking or anything and everything. And then finally, things like sugars and bad fats release opioids in your brain, similar to the way if you were having Class A drug. So that is addictive, so you're going to get addicted to that feeling. You're going to want more of it. So those are kind of my 3 in terms of cravings, where it all comes from. Yeah. So that's it.
Because there's really like this disconnection somehow between, like even what we're talking about, and I know what you just said with your husband, but it's like, if your husband wants to drink wine, why do you feel that you have to drink wine to keep him company, to make him feel better? And I've been on the hard end of this because my family, my grandma has shouted at me for not drinking wine because it made her feel like an alcoholic, that I didn't want to drink wine at dinner, and it's like, that's your shit! You know, like, just because you want to do something that I don't want to do, just do it then. Like, if you enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know,
No, but it's not.
But then obviously they don't.
Even in myself, like, I have these weird things where I'm like, I come home and I'm a little bit tired because I'm on my bicycle or whatever, and then in my mind I go, yeah, something nice to eat and a cigarette. And it's like, it's total bullshit because like a cigarette when I've just been on my bicycle or whatever is not making me feel better, but somehow in my mind it goes there, and then once I've thought it, once the thoughts come, then it's impossible not to do it.
Yeah.
So that's where I've been dealing with now, and then what I looked at for this one, what they said was the best way to come out of that kind of habit is not to try to change what happens first, but what happens at the end. So when it does happen and you fall prey to your own habit or your own addiction, instead of falling into the pattern and then feeling really bad and thinking negatively about yourself and putting yourself down, you just go, whoops.
Yes.
Next day.
Yeah.
Because every time you do that, you take away the power. And so little by little, instead of trying to stop it from here, you're kind of taking away like that way.
Excess
and so
of the
one
guilt
day
and
I want a cigarette. So what?
the shame, the second one that we had.
What would you say about, I know I'm very weak for this, that if I'm with friends and they're smoking, I don't smoke.
Yeah.
Like, I don't.
But that's what this chakra is all about. There's like ego, power, and like you kind of taking a stand on what you want. So when you go into a situation, before you've gone in, you've had a certain value left, which is I don't smoke, I don't take crack cocaine, I don't have anal sex. And then you go into a group party.
How boring.
Yeah. You're not your friends anymore.
And then 20 minutes is like you had a cigarette, and you had some coke, and then someone's in your butt. And you're like,
that happens every Friday.
What kind of part of the value referencing yourself at that point? Surely it must be to go with what you said that you wanted from the beginning, because that's your truth. And then when other people come in and influence you,
yeah, that's peer pressure, and that's not having the strength.
Just say whoops.
Yeah, what?
It's a hard one, you know, because there's so much, and then I think, like even I went to one of the anonymous meetings here for eating, for emotional eating, because I felt like also for me it's interesting to see how that would be, and I felt so out of place.
Really?
Yeah, and I almost felt like, well, fuck it, I'm just gonna lie and go to the like cocaine anonymous because like you're not getting judged. Because I went to the emotional eating one and they were all looking at me like, well, you're so thin, what's your problem?
Yeah.
And I said that's got nothing to do with
like
it doesn't. You don't have to look at to have it, and I think a lot of people do.
Do you remember
and when
what?
I open up with my friends about it and I say like I'm feeling like I'm emotionally eating, either the reaction is, well, whatever, you're skinny, so it doesn't matter. And like the psychological trauma has nothing to do with that. Or it's like, yeah, I have that too. And like those are the only two
reactions.
that I've had.
Yeah,
And it's,
right.
You know, it's like
Interesting.
either like what the fuck or yummy.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like we all, and with food, it's so big, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, we've
can't
all done
stop
it at some stage.
Cocaine you
We've
can
all.
stop, alcohol you can stop, but food
You can't
just
stop eating.
not
Yeah.
have it. So it's
Yeah.
a really hard one to like
Yeah.
balance.
Do you remember what was their point of view on why is there emotional eating and what to do about it from the group that you went to? Do you
From
remember?
AA, just like just what you said, it's the same with that, or the food overeaters anonymous, that one's called. It's the same. It's just like lacking on the inside and wanting to,
And that it releases the pleasure in
Well, it's just,
that
just
you then get
dealing with your
addicted to that
problems, dealing with
quick
your problems,
fix.
but creating a
Yeah.
problem in the outside world rather than like coming to terms with it.
Yeah.
Super interesting.
That was brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem.
You have these